Yo, what up? Good morning, GM. Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. For that, another beautiful day to have a beautiful day. I got my co-host in the house, Tyler, Mando. Good morning. How you guys doing today?
Great, man. How are you?
Fantastic. I have an open trading view in 3 days.
Really?
I actually haven't looked. I know you're not going to believe me. I haven't looked at the price of Farcoin in 3 days. I don't know what it's at. In REKT either.
Don't look.
I haven't looked at either REKT or Farcoin in 3 days. Because they're my biggest bags and they're the bags that swing the hardest during these times. So like I know I'm down like fucking 40%. You know what I mean? So I don't need to look at it. So just let me know if it gets really bad. You know what I mean? Like send me the message. But just know that I'm not looking. Anyways, Tyler, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm trying to manifest some green candles here with the hat. I will say this: the spaces I'm listening to, the commentary on the timeline, like you would think that we are in a bear market. Like people are ready for us just to top. They want a victory lap calling DATs.
Oh, yeah.
DATs are the top. DATs are going to kick us into the next bear. It's over. It's going to be so obvious in hindsight. And that's all anyone wants to talk about right now. So it feels like bottom signals out there to me.
I think it's our fellow co-host, though, that's calling for the end of DATs and MicroStrategy being done.
Me?
Right, man? Mando, you I think you're the one, right? You're sending us into a bear market here.
I don't think it's the end of DATs.
I'm kidding.
I still don't know the scenario where people get overly bearish about DATs. Like they just feel like they were financed at the wrong level, but it's not like it's like that much of a worry. If it was all debt they were financed with, then it'd be a worry. But most of these were just financed with stock. People were sold the dream that this could trade at like 3x NAV, and they've just been decimated on the stocks, and maybe that trade is like now slightly diminished. But I've said many times, I don't think this is like anything sort of like an FTX style issue. Like there's no hole in anyone's balance. People were just sold ETH at the wrong level, basically, or Bitcoin at the wrong level. So that's the worry.
So hold that thought, because we're gonna go there today. I saw you guys tweet about it. I think this is the topic of conversation on the timeline right now, at least. So we're a lot of signals for me are starting to feel like we're bottoming slowly, right? There's a lot of things happening on the timeline that are indicating bottom signals to me, especially when we're trying to chase, like what's going to cause the next FTX, what's going to be the next end of this, the end of that. So let's talk about that today. Let's talk markets, but we know the markets kind of suck. So let's talk about mostly like that and the state of that, I think, when we talk majors, because it's very relevant. Tyler's top 100. So Tyler will go through his stuff probably pretty quickly, because in 20 minutes we'll be joined by John Wang. We've been DMing, say, yo, let's get on the show, let's talk prediction markets, etc. Curious to have his thoughts. A lot of you guys turn on. Actually, 200 people set reminders for John. So John's got something good going on here. Clearly, a reminder for John's followers that may not watch the show or follow us. We are live at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every single weekday, Monday to Friday, live on air on video. So kick.com/Degenz live is where to find us. I'm going to post a link in a minute. Here is also how you get to win some money every day. Yeet.com just sign up using our code FOMO Hour for a chance to win every single day. So we couldn't pick someone yesterday, so we're going tomorrow and today, and 2 on Friday. And then last but not least, this show is powered by Wallet Connect. Wallet Connect is the connectivity network shaping the future of on-chain UX. If you've connected to Web3 app, you've seen Wallet Connect. That blue logo, it's everywhere. An icon of trust in crypto is recognizable as Visa at checkout. Want to learn more? Follow Wallet Connect on X and Telegram to stay ahead of what's next. But also, Kraken Pro. With Kraken Pro, you get full control over your layout. Drag and drop any module. Customize it all. It's clean. It's smooth. And built for real traders. If you trade crypto, check out pro.kraken.com. Trade without trade-offs. Let's get into this conversation. Whoa.
Who is the man, macro daddy of the land? Can you dig it?
Yeah, GM everyone. Sorry if my audio is not as good as normal, but it's a little bit of a weaker day. Again, I think Bitcoin's down another 1-2%. We're down to like 112.5 area. I think the key levels of support are around the 111 to 112 area. Yeah, I guess even around here, you could say this is a little bit of a support area. And for ETH, we're down to 4,100. I again thought around 4,000 to 4,100 is kind of where we would bottom out, and or at least bounce from. In terms of what people are worried about, we have Fed minutes and the Fed decision, or Jackson Hole guidance, let's say, for next month's Fed decision. I think we've spoken about that a little bit. I think most people are expecting a rate cut. Maybe they're making too much of a big deal out of it. I think the other thing is just that this DAT trade, this treasury trade, is seemingly coming a bit more to an end. And there's obviously like three main vehicles here, probably to take a look at, which is MicroStrategy. There is Bitmine, and there's Sharplink. I think, are those the three biggest, apart from like the miners, Tyler?
Apart from the miners, yes. And
Yeah.
mine just flipped Mara anyways, so it's the number 2. SBET's technically 5th, but yeah, it's 3 when you just look at the DATs.
Yeah. So those three DATs, there's just like how this has happened, as I think we've detailed quite a lot of times, is for a long time, MicroStrategy traded at a multiple of its assets that it held. I don't know how to describe that, but let's say, yeah, you own 100 Bitcoin. The market was pricing it like you owned 300 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And that was, people were like, oh, people would make these like crazy reasons for why that would be the case, basically. Part of it was like, oh, it's the only vehicle around to do this. He has some like play with the Bitcoin that he's going to buy, all this sort of stuff. And because of that, that opened up ETH companies to come and say, hey, we can do this for ETH, and we can trade at multiples of our treasury. The biggest have obviously been Sharplink and Bitmine. And those multiples have come down a lot. So Strategy was trading at a multiple of 3 at the start of the year. It's now trading at a multiple of 1.5. Strategy is down on the year despite Bitcoin being up. You also have Sharplink, which was at one stage trading at like 3 to 10x multiple, I think.
Whoa.
After its first buy, Sharplink hit a high of about 100. Is now trading at 1.01, which basically is saying, hey, we're valuing you at the 100 ETH that you own. You own 100 ETH, we're valuing 100 ETH. And then Bitmine's trading at 1.35, which is kind of in between. I think there's maybe been a misunderstanding just in kind of what was sold here. Maybe not even a misunderstanding, but let's say like a false belief in what was sold here, that these could all just go up to like 3x and it was going to be some sort of crazy trade. And that's slightly deflating. But the reason why that's important is firstly, some people are getting up in arms and being like, oh, they're all going to go to shit. Like, I don't think that's really a worry. They were all financed by equity. So there's no real risk of liquidation for any of them. And I personally think that the most likely scenario is you end up getting consolidation between them. But by that I mean like someone like Bitmine that trades at 1.35 will buy somebody who trades under 1. For example, if you can buy a company, let's say you own 100 ETH and suddenly the market actually values you at 80 ETH, you could buy that company. If you're worth 130 ETH versus your 100 ETH, you could buy the 80 ETH company and you've just created a bunch of value for your company. So that's what I see as the next real stage of this. And then there's just a lot of worry about like, oh, MicroStrategy is going to like, it's going to blow up, all this sort of stuff. I put out a very long post about it today, and I think I've been saying it for a long time, that I didn't think this was good for the common stockholders. I continue to think that is the real worry here. I don't think it's a worry for Bitcoin. I think MicroStrategy has a MicroStrategy problem. Bitcoin doesn't have a MicroStrategy problem, basically. It's very much a they can just keep on issuing common stock to pay for whatever financing they decided to do. And as a common stockholder, I think they're going to, unless you see like very big gains in Bitcoin, this can be a worry. This can be a worry, basically. But I think it's a MicroStrategy problem, and I don't think it's like that big a deal. But what it will mean is that all this like, oh, we're going to buy 25 billion, we're going to buy 40 billion, that probably isn't going to happen anymore. So perhaps the market is pricing in the idea that Bitcoin isn't going to have MicroStrategy as a continual buyer anymore, and then maybe ETH is trying to price in the fact that these DATs aren't going to print that much in the future. I've said this a few times, but like, I don't know if that's that much of a worry as much as I think we'll just see consolidation and then potentially discontinuation of the same thing. I do think there's some case for these trading at a higher multiple to their NAV. Probably not 2x, but like good management teams that end up doing interesting business things with their assets, particularly things like ETH, which is like it's like a asset you can put into various different things in DeFi. I think they will probably trade at a high multiple versus MNAV, and there'll be a good trade here. So I'm not worried by this, but that seems to be the main thing that like is getting people worried. This is not FTX. Like FTX was a forced bankruptcy, which took down the vast majority of the industry, and they basically had to puke out all their crypto at the lows. None of these companies will have to do that, in my opinion. They've got no need to. There's no forced liquidation of any of them. And MicroStrategy, which is the one which is the closest to doing that because it has some debt on its balance sheet, basically, as I've said a number of times, Bitcoin would have to drop like 70%, in my opinion, for like 4 or 5 years. Let me put it that way. For that to ever really become an issue, you'd have to go over sustained debt maturities, and I just don't see it being a problem. So I think the DAT trade in terms of buying is over. The DAT trade where everything goes to zero and these things are worthless, that's not a worry. Even if the stocks go down below MNAV, like, it doesn't actually really matter. The market's just going to have to appreciate that these stocks can go above and below MNAV. It's happened to MicroStrategy in the past. MicroStrategy traded well below MNAV. If you type in MicroStrategy MNAV, there's a good chart of like the history of MicroStrategy versus its holdings, which I was going to put on today, but I think that's the one misconception the market has had so far, is that it always is traded at a premium, and it isn't. It's not written in stone that these things trade at a premium, for sure not.
I have a few thoughts. I think very well said in general. The one piece I would softly push back on is the trade being over. I still feel like it's too early to call the Bitmine and Sharplink trades over. Like, they're in their first 2 months of existence. They haven't really tapped into any of a DeFi playbook yet. They haven't rolled out any other types of financial instruments yet. So I think that the early explosive trade, sure, like maybe that part's over. The way I've always viewed these is levered bets on the underlying currency, and so or crypto asset. So it's not surprising that they're underperforming right now in this dip. They were overperforming, or Bitmine was, at least in the ETH rally. ETH would go up 5% in a day, Bitmine would go up 25%, and now we're seeing the opposite. MicroStrategy is a little bit different. Like, on the year, it's underperforming Bitcoin. On the year to date, it's underperforming. On the 1 year, it's outperforming. So it all depends on your timescales. I think from this driving the bear market, I agree with you. I feel like a year ago, Saylor was the boogeyman. it was MicroStrategy that was going to cause the bear market, and now folks have shifted that narrative to now it's the other DATs, it's the downstream DATs. And outside of the biggest players, like these, they're not even that big. Like the 15th DAT on that list holds 300 million. Like that's going to collapse. That's going to drive us into a bear market. Like I'm not buying it. I'm not. So I don't know. It feels a little overblown. Folks trying to collect clout points for predicting what's going to drive its collapse.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, Mando.
I think what will be really interesting is if we hear, which may happen here, MicroStrategy makes offer to buy this company, or BitMine makes offer to buy this company if they start trading below MNAV, and then the market will realize how this all works. It'll just be like, okay, so these smaller ones are just going to be amalgamated into the bigger ones, and they'll probably buy them out at either at MNAV or maybe slightly below if they're trading like significantly below, and they will increasingly look like ETFs in terms of vehicle, in my opinion. And I don't know. If you've been watching this show, I don't think you find that a shock. We've spoken about it quite a lot of times that it's difficult for them to trade like sustainably above like 2x, for example, for any sort of period of time. But I also agree with what you said. Like, I don't think this is over. This is the point. Like, particularly not for the ones that look like they're going to be the vehicles are BitMine and MicroStrategy. And I think as long as they are trading above MNAV, anywhere above MNAV, the trade's still on because they can continue to do this. And it actually is almost slightly beneficial to them if they are staying above MNAV and others are trading below, because then they can do this sort of thing. So the failure of one of these is actually definitely not a failure of them all.
Is there a scenario, little tinfoil hatty here?
Yeah.
Is it in Tom Lee and his shareholders' interest for him? Are there scenarios where he should drive the price down to potentially set up them being able to acquire another vehicle at an 80% discount? Like, is that a potential outcome, or would that just be too nefarious and poke too many holes in the broader DAT?
I don't think they need to do that. I think the market will do it for them. I don't know how to describe that, but like, I think even if the ETH stays where it is right now, some companies will start trading well below NAV, and some will start trading above, and it will just happen. They don't. I think it's almost irrespective of the price. It's just that the market is slightly freaking out that the price is gonna do anything. And MicroStrategy, like, I think the people who are really pissed right now are MicroStrategy common stockholders.
Well, they should be, right? That was like a switch up, like a last minute.
No, but I mean, this has been going on all year. This isn't something that, if you bring up the MNAV chart, it's literally it's been like a slow and steady decline.
Yeah, I can't find it.
Down to one and a half. This isn't something. I mean, what they did the other day was bad, but I think there was like a real misconception in MicroStrategy common stockholders that more Bitcoin they bought, the better it was. That was like a mantra. I don't know if you've spoken to MicroStrategy holders over the last 6 to 12 months or like 18 months.
This?
Yeah. You see? You can see that this really happened kind of in January. And then it's
continued
to it. But there was a real belief, that the more Bitcoin we own, the better this is. And that some of them clung on to that, with each successive buy, they were like, it's so good. Let's keep on buying. And they actually, I think, misunderstood that this was not going to be that good for them. And that's been the breakdown in the whole world falling down, because they're suddenly realizing that they're kind of getting fucked here.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of getting fucked, and it's not going to stop. And now that he's already issued all these securities, the cat's out of the bag. Like, he has to pay 10% interest on those prefs every year if he wants to keep on paying the preferred interest rate. The converts is like minimally low, but like these prefs, you know, you're gonna have to. I think how much did he issue? Like in the billions, right? You have to pay.
Yeah.
You have to pay hundreds of millions of dollars of interest every single year on prefs. Like the only way to pay that is going to be the issuance of more common. And I think, yeah, they just become the proverbial punching bag of the capital structure, in my opinion. But it doesn't mean that he's going to default. It just means that like Bitcoin could go up to like 140, and MicroStrategy common stock holders may not even benefit.
That would be painful. That would be we'll see pitchforks. If Bitcoin 40 and MicroStrategy stock is
go
up.
To be clear, Bitcoin just hitting like an all-time high, and MicroStrategy was already heading south at that stage.
This is pretty true.
This has already happened. It's not like it will just continue the trend. But I do think there was. I wouldn't diminish what you said there as well, Farouk. Like what happened this week. Yeah, like a lot of people, as you know from running a Web3 project, like you've got to stick to your guns. Like people, it's a trust game to a certain extent. And he said one thing, and in 2 weeks he went back on his word. Like
Right.
everyone knows that's not a good tactic in any form of business. You know, like
well, especially at the highest form, right? Like he's the king of the DAT. Like he's the role model of that. Yeah.
So I think that's something that just kind of like spooked people because there was a lot of unshakable belief that this guy was just God, even if MicroStrategy stock was going lower. And then to do that, which I think he needs to do, to be clear, like he needs to say, look, we can issue more stock to pay back the prefs. Everyone thought it was issue more stock to buy back Bitcoin. I took it as we can issue more stock to pay back the pref interest. That's what I took that statement as. Because where else is he going to get the cash? Where else is he getting hundreds of millions of dollars from?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's that makes sense. I mean, it's funny, right? Like, I mean, this is the talk of town, and it was when everything's good, everybody's like turbo bullish. That this, that for this, that for that. Let's buy this, let's buy that. And then the second the market is retesting, like I know John's here. John's in the studio. I'm gonna bring you up in a second here, but like I was just like looking at look at you guys know I'm not a chartist or something. Like I don't even trade, by the way. But like I look at this, like, is this really bearish? Like I just do simple lines. I think one line per chart. So this is my one line on Bitcoin. Okay. This is my one line on Ethereum. This is my one line on ETH. Okay. I don't need another one. That's what actually you told us this, Mando, this one. Like it's like, okay. And then I think on Solana, maybe I have two. Because it's different. Like the PA has been different. But like this is Solana. Like are we freaking out?
How many Fartcoin lines have you got?
Actually, you know what? If I open Fartcoin right now, I open Fartcoin right now, it's gonna be the first time since Saturday.
Don't do it. Just don't do it. You got.
We're having a good conversation. We're having a good morning.
It's gonna be the first time since like Saturday I took Fartcoin price. Should I just check it?
You know what? Honestly, Fartcoin's not that bad. It's not really not.
I mean, I've seen worse. Let's go. Just to rip it. Fuck it. Just give me. Oh fuck. My VPN made.
It's really not that bad.
Okay. It's probably like, let me take a guess. Without looking, knowing the price of Fartcoin, it's probably like 850.
880.
I know my shit. You know what I mean?
I think it hit 850 or so.
Yeah. As long as it's in this little like, little range here. So like, what's REKT at? I haven't looked. Like the REKT's probably what, 350? Let's see. Let's see if I know my shit.
Yeah, touch her.
REKT had a nice bounce.
385. See, I just, you know what I mean? Like I got to a point where like last year this time when we have dips like this, Mando knows. He was always I call him. I'd be like, yo, dude, like what am I supposed to do? Like I'm freaking out. And now I'm just like, all right, let me just go for another pastel nata. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Dude, let me just go for a workout. Hey, we're talking massive swings here, but it is what it is, guys.
My link buy actually has gone well.
Doing? I love that.
The Marine.
I'm full marining.
I was gonna say the founder of Link is quite like approachable. Like we should just get him on.
Wow, it's up 5% today. What a coin.
Like we should get him on. Like he's the type of person I feel like that would come on FOMO Hour and jam with us.
Yeah, let's get him.
He was actually at the summit in the White House when we were there. So anyways, there's that. Let me bring John up. Tyler, how do you want to run this? Do you want to still run through your topics? We get John on, then we chit chat.
I can just give a couple quick headlines. It was a lighter report because I know we want to talk to John. Give him
Perfect.
30
I'll
minutes.
bring John on stage, and then but go ahead, jam with us.
For daily NFT and crypto analysis. Clarity on FOMO, our goals to kiss and miss.
Crypto majors now mixed. Bitcoin and ETH down about 1%. Sol actually green on the day. So we're starting to see a little bit of a rebound here after the markets have opened in the US. A lot of stablecoin news in the past 24 hours. So the state of Wyoming launched its Frontier stable token, FRNT. That's the first stablecoin ever issued by a US public entity. We had Goldman Sachs come out this morning and say they think the market for stablecoins will be going to the trillions with a T. And an interesting IPO story. We talked about Bullish. Bullish, the company, now holds 1.15 billion in stablecoins after receiving a large chunk of their IPO funds via stable.
Very cool.
Fiat. I think they're the first company to have done that. Perhaps an interesting precedent to set for crypto companies. A lot of those are being held on Solana, by the way. And also this morning, China exploring a yuan-backed stablecoin. So 4 big stablecoin headlines there. Let's see. Anthony Scaramucci, he's going to tokenize 2 of his funds on AVAX. David Bailey's DAT Nakamoto, they bought $680 million worth of Bitcoin at an average price of 118.2. So they're down on their buys here a bit. Robinhood, good seg to our conversation. They're teaming up with Kalshi to launch prediction markets for NFL and college football games in that Robinhood app. So that was a big one. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Cyberkong's announced a new token. They're switching out Banana for Kong.
Saw that.
So they're going to run it back, it looks like. So pay attention to that one. But yeah, those are the main headlines from the day.
Could you imagine what would happen if I would have just sold that Cyberkong they sent me after posting about it?
You still can.
Bernie and I were laughing about this. Like, yo, what if it like you list it? That's cool.
One other quick note. Tom Lee's quant said 40.75 to 41.50. We bounced off 4,075 on ETH.
And speaking of Tom Lee, just left Jackson Hole on a United Career airline. Like, he's just like the rest of us. Did you guys see that? He ain't flying private, you know? This is our boy. This is the man saving our bags here, you know, right there. Goodbye, Jackson Hole. Now time to move on up and move up and to the right. Great Salt, Wyoming. Salt, which shout out to Kraken, our show sponsors. Seems like it was a really, really big conference, and you know, seems like he's going back home while he's replying to SPX 6900 posts. That's so funny. I didn't even see that, but a man of the people. So that's a good roundup. Love the China news, by the way. This first thing I saw today, because last week there was another China FUD that came out 2 weeks ago. Everybody used that in order to say we're going lower. But I thought it was hilarious to see the stablecoin headline about this. But anyways, we got John both on Twitter Spaces and on our Kick stream right now. John, what's up, man? How you doing today?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to be on here.
Hell yeah, dude. Thanks for coming. I know you and I have been chatting a little bit, especially because you're very, very, very vocal about prediction markets on the timeline. And boy, do I love prediction markets. We like them a lot on the show. And while chatting, I'm like, yo, why don't you just come on the show? We're trying to have some fun people come up, and did notice that you definitely drew a crowd and you're getting a lot of engagement about all this stuff. So definitely want to get into that, a few different topics that Tyler also has prepared for us today. But just quickly, I know you're not Docs, John, so you don't have to go too deep into it. But for the people who are not too familiar with you, even myself, like, we see a lot of your content on the timeline. You've been doing a lot of numbers, like I said. Your articles are getting a lot of attention. I read some of them; they're really good. And I'm a fan of your prediction market takes that I tend to share a lot internally with my team. But what's your background? Like, what do you do? Who are you? Like, to the extent that you're comfortable sharing, of course, on the spaces.
Yeah, of course. So I'm originally from Australia, and I now moved to the US for college. I've been in crypto since like 2021. Worked at a couple of different places, like everything from like did a bit of time. Well, my first startup that I worked at was like in a perps exchange, and then worked at Immutable for a while, which is like the largest Australian crypto startup. then I dropped out of college to like start my own company actually, and you know, we kind of did like a lending and liquidation bots, and sold that to TN from Pendle. And last year I was like exploring SocialFi and meme coins a lot. I was like hacking on stuff in the space, and sort of exploring that world on Solana, and that kind of landed me on like being more of an active trader as well. And so like over the past like this year, I've kind of been just advising companies in the space, sort of like, you know, all the launch pads on Meteora, and like you know, recently also Ventrals, which is like a hyperliquid perps
Yeah.
market for IPO stocks, and yeah, trading my own book as well. So pretty deep in the trenches, and sort of have some builder experience as well.
All right, love that. That's a good background. Definitely love definitely someone who's tapped into the space for you on the show today. Just a reminder, kick.com/Degenz live. Make sure you sign up and you sub to your boys. We'll host this show every Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Tyler, I'm gonna kick it to you. I know you got a few topics for us.
Yeah, John, I mean, you've been increasing the frequency of your prediction market posts.
Yeah.
As of late, it feels like you're really leaning in. I guess what has piqued your interest? Why like this uptick now here in summer 2025?
Yeah, I've always been really interested in prediction markets. I think it's like one of the net new things that has come out of our industry. You know, I was an active trader last year on like prediction markets, and even earlier this year as well. I think this time around, what made me really excited was just like seeing that Poly market and Kalshi and all the prediction markets out there. They're basically at all-time highs again, and you know, that shows that it wasn't a fad, that there really is product market fit here, that, you know, there could be a potential, and it feels like we're bidding resistance at all-time highs, and it just makes sense that we're going to break through and we're going to send it to Valhalla. And so, you know, prediction markets are super interesting to me because, you know, they're also like one of the few things in crypto that have positive externalities. You know, it's like not just a zero-sum game where you have this like externality of spitting out the truth, and spitting out sort of like the wisdom of the crowd that is really powerful for media, and sort of breaking like false narratives and showing like the people where the market's hand is.
I agree. I think it's one of the more interesting aspects, and I don't really feel like we've seen the media integration yet. We will.
Who's got some back end? Is it me? No. In my mind. Okay, we're good. Oh, go on, Tyler.
I was just saying, like, I don't think we're at like the first inning of media integration with prediction markets. Like over at Decrypt, right? We're putting some prediction markets into articles, but I see a future where like on CNN, CNBC, they're running stories and they're going to have the prediction market odds up
for sure
on screen during it. And we're not there yet. Basically what we're seeing with ESPN in sports betting odds and just full integration. I guess, John, I'm curious, anything that you could point to, like, are you surprised that volumes are basically back to all-time highs? And then like, what are you seeing that's enabling them to, like, the big players to be at all-time highs post-election without, you know, that big anchor to drive action? Curious what you're seeing.
Yeah, I 100% agree on the media front, by the way. I think both the media will sort of absorb prediction markets more, and prediction markets as a product might also like change to fit media more through like more permissionless markets and stuff. But we can get into that later. It's like a deep rabbit hole. In terms of like, am I surprised to see prediction markets at all-time highs again? I think that's definitely quite surprising. I don't think I would have expected it to rebound so quickly. If you had asked me kind of like at the peak of the election cycle last year. And so the rebound is like quite astonishing to see. And I think like the sort of ceiling for this is quite high. Like I think prediction markets, you're coming from a meme coin background, like a guy who trades, a guy who's interested in like sort of crypto as a as a social speculation vehicle, but also as like a DeFi product as well. I think like prediction markets kind of sits in the middle, and it's like a lot more accessible to retail than meme coins because it's very understandable. The payoff structure is like a lot more legible to sort of like normies, and then like the topics that you're trading are actually like relevant things, not just sort of like a loose like vibes based if like indirect tie, which like meme coins are.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm really interested in the DeFi aspect of this. Maybe we can talk about this for a few minutes. To me, I think looking at the big markets out there, I think the presidential election market in 2028
Huge.
is arguably the most interesting market out there for predictions right now. And the reason I say that is like this is where we can unlock some real new primitives in prediction markets. What I mean by that is I'm not like I think JD Vance is the front runner for 2028. He's at 28%. I can basically get 4 to 1 on my money. But there's a huge opportunity cost for me to lock up capital effectively for a little over 3 years to do that. Where this gets interesting is if I can tokenize my JD Vance bet, plug it into a DeFi protocol. Let's say I put 10K in and I can get 5K back in cash that I can just go do whatever I want with. Do you think we're going to get there? Do you think we'll get there by 2028? Is this on your radar? Like, what are you thinking about in terms of prediction markets and kind of the integration with DeFi?
Oh yeah, 100% we're going to get there. And I've been like chatting with some lending protocols already to sort of like see if there's appetite for this kind of thing. Just in terms of like brainstorming what's next for prediction markets in terms of like DeFi like Legos. I think that's definitely one of the most sort of interesting DeFi Legos that we could build with prediction markets. And you're totally right. Like prediction markets, a lot of the more interesting markets sometimes are long dated, which means that people have to sacrifice an opportunity cost of capital right now. It's like slightly fixed with the 4% yield, but
Yeah.
What you mentioned is definitely like a solution that will probably incentivize people to participate in long dated markets more if they're able to free up that capital that they're putting in.
I've yet to see the perfect examples of that. Like I know for us, like on our end, like it's something that we're looking into with like people like Eigen. Like we announced a partnership with Eigen Cloud, and obviously like there's some of the best when it comes to like staking, restaking, all that good stuff. Because like as traders in general, and you said you trench a lot. People don't really like hold long-term positions. It's never been something anyone's interested in this industry, at least very rarely. And if I'm gonna bet on the presidential election for next year, Tyler, like you said, like I don't really want to have my money stuck there. But the 4% thing that Polymarket came up with, I mean, guess somewhat solves this. But even then, I feel like people want to do more on that. Like being able. Have you seen perfect examples yet of like you said, there's like a big rabbit hole and like, we could go to like lending on your position or like being able to trade your position as perps, etc. Like I saw you write an article, right? The prediction market perps on Hyperliquid. Like what do you think is the future of that within this industry?
Yeah, I think getting the lending side right is going to be hard. It's almost like a bit like NFT lending in the sense that you are tokenizing this like kind of illiquid position. It's always a bit unique. So, maybe what the model we see might look kind of like Blend, which is like the Blur lending design, which kind of never really like took off mainstream. Or we see like something that's more like credit driven that's like new, or like a prime brokerage model, so like similar to Gearbox, where you can like use the capital and like borrow it, but never take it outside the system of like sort of a defined whitelisted set of protocols. Like that might be more safe. And then on the prediction market perp side, I think that one is also kind of like a similar situation where so far like the implementations of it have been a bit janky. Like DYDX and Drift are like two protocols that kind of did this. Even FTX, I think, tried prediction market perps, and they've all kind of like basically been insolvent at some point in time with those products. Like managing the leverage and sort of like liquidation engines for that are really hard. And I think for most of them, they kind of like didn't really build something fully verticalized for prediction market perps. They kind of just added it to their existing perp engine. And so like you probably need something a lot more like I don't know, like tailored towards prediction markets.
Yeah.
And why is it hard? It's like managing margin when you have like a binary outcome is like really hard, because if you wick from 0 to 1 at like the sort of tail end of an expiry, you have some like information that, hey, Trump just got like the Epstein case got out and Trump, was in it, and wicks from like 0 to 1, or like Kamala died or something. Basically, like these informational things can really, really push a market. Whereas like with Bitcoin, ETH and stuff, you wouldn't like full send to 0 in like one candle, right? So it's like much harder to design for in terms of perps.
That all makes sense. It still feels doable, but like we're just not there yet. It's like the idea that it was right idea too early. It still feels to me, and I'm curious if either of you have thoughts on this, is like liquidity continues to be like one of the single biggest issues in prediction markets.
It is.
Whales still can't come in and bet $1 million on every market they want to bet on, just because it'll move the line too much. How does that eventually get solved? Is it just growing the pie, getting more people in the door? Like that's what I still continue to struggle with. And I'm curious if you're having conversations around that and what folks are thinking about.
Yeah, I think it's like a combination of bringing more people in, but specifically like more liquidity providers, and that might look like institutions. Like I think Kalshi has SIG and like a bunch of other Wall Street market makers who actually like make the books and make the books more liquid. So I think they might be like the most liquid in the space right now. And then like it could even look like changes in mechanism design. So for long tail markets, order books really don't make sense. Maybe AMMs are like the solution to that, where you raise liquidity sort of pump fund style, and then try to like trade it on an AMM curve. And yeah, I think like bringing more people in, sort of educating them about like how to sort of like set limit orders and stuff, and how like order books might work differently on prediction markets. This could like be just like more pro trading terminals, because right now the like major prediction market interfaces are still like very like simple. I'd say like if we're comparing to like NFTs, like everything kind of looks like OpenSea. It's like big buttons, simple interfaces. But we haven't had that like blur moment yet, where we've got really pricing and like liquidity data, which kind of does bring in more like sophisticated liquidity providers and users.
This is true. Like I agree. Like as someone who's like working in that, obviously every day, our only focus is like growing myriad markets and stuff. Like a lot of it is just like I think RUI is like the cleanest, but obviously like we're not as big as like the Kalshi supply markets yet. But I think it's like a lot of it is just very hard to use still for like the average consumer. Like we don't have this like prediction market product yet that's like the moonshot, Tyler. You know what I mean? Like to buy memes and stuff, you guys know very well. Like you can just on moonshot and then you Apple ID, Apple Cloud, iCloud, sorry, Apple Pay is what I meant, and then you just buy the meme. We don't have that yet, or we haven't had that moment for prediction markets, which is why I think it's so early and why it's such an interesting product. Because I genuinely believe that like, and I think you guys talk about this a lot too, but like how prediction markets just much more interesting than meme coins for like the average participant. Like I think if anything, right, man, like I feel like they're better onboarding product. Oh, you muted, but I think they're better onboarding product than meme coins. Just like NFTs were better onboarding product as well.
Yeah, build those on the NWA court, and WNBA court even. That's like that went global, that story, right?
Yeah.
says a lot. Like people disengage with that sort of stuff a lot, and because it's the esoteric bets that you can't take at normal sports books, you can do like really interesting things. I think grabs attention for people. I do think it's going to be absolutely massive. I think you saw that today with Robinhood, right? Like Robinhood, Kalshi,
The football markets, yeah.
YEET were like you can't think about doing a sports book anymore and not think about this sort of stuff because it's like the special markets that you used to have on terms of the sports book, that's now prediction markets. You know, like, oh, we're going to do the election or we're going to do this special promotion on this bet. Like prediction markets are just dominating that. So I think it's going to continue to gain mind share.
Yeah. Curious your thoughts on that. It's funny. Yesterday's guest, the first comment on this tweet under Zoomerfied is John Wang was right. And ICO Beast was on the show yesterday, which is funny because John's on here today. We've been covering this a lot. Like every time there's this big news coming up, because the partnership that Kalshi had with Robinhood is absolutely massive. And I think that's going to happen much more with like the exchanges partnering with like specific prediction markets to offer this, but also like the DraftKings of this world, I think will have to. They have no choice. Like, what's your general thoughts on this? Like, how exchanges will need to like partner with prediction markets? How prediction markets, honestly, like, I think they could take over that whole like sports betting industry, which is already like mega. I think you muted. Oh, there you go.
Hey, yeah, 100% agree. And I love ICO Beast. I think like in the future, where at some point we're going to see every major financial fintech gambling app have prediction markets embedded in them, similar to Robinhood, and not even like those, but media websites. Every podcast and like creator is going to monetize through rev sharing or creating prediction markets, because it's just like a much more efficient way to monetize their attention, and they don't have to like sort of launch a meme coin that dumps and then they're kind of like fucked forever. They can launch recurrent or like participate or shill meme card sort of new prediction markets frequently, because these things are like sort of temporary things, and they're like very socially acceptable to trade on, because it's really just betting on like the truth. And I think one thing I've been thinking about recently is these high volume or these high like eyeball events like the elections or like these like spectacles, they draw a lot of eyes, but how do you like get them to convert is like another question. Like how many dollars of volume or users activated from like these huge events actually occur? And I think it's kind of like a snowball effect over time, where you want to train people to have this muscle of like associating the news with prediction markets, but then actually taking that next legible step of trading on that, and like talking to their friends about it. And it's really just like increasing the frequency of these things, like making them more relevant, more embedded. I think prediction markets is like a form of softcore gambling as opposed to like hardcore gambling right now, at least. I wrote this like a blog piece on this like idea of softcore gambling, and the basic like premise of it is, with meme coins, you're kind of looking for like 1000x, or like going fully risk on, whereas like with prediction markets, it's more softcore. It might not even be gambling, right? In the sense that like you're like maybe doing lower ticket sizes, but like higher frequency things, and you're like playing it to more so just like see how it goes, especially with like these mention markets where you're guessing what someone might say. And for Robinhood specifically, I think the retail audience there really loves it, because it's almost like a more interesting or like more understandable form of like zero DTE options. To me, it's like the next evolution of events trading for retail like that.
I think it's coming. I think the lines have maybe blurred a little bit from softcore to hardcore with the introduction of like the sports lines. Because I think there's a difference between creating a point of view on an election or a geopolitical event versus betting on the next Eagles game.
Yeah.
which is going to be effectively a coin flip. But there's going to be something for everyone. The creators market is very interesting to me, but I think you nailed it on the conversion point, and we'll have to figure that out. So like I've been talking about, oh, will Tom Lee's quant be right? Well, 4,075 ETH be the bottom. And if I ran a poll on my Twitter page, I'd probably get 400 or 500 votes. If I created a market,
That's the problem.
10% of those people bet on it, maybe.
It's a volume thing. Like we think about that. Like, this is exactly, it's like, and we talk about liquidity and volume, etc. Like, a lot of these prediction markets not getting any volume, and like we have a fee on our market, so like people are not like wash trading on our stuff. So it's like, I think like the volume still on MYRIAD is very real, and we're about to hit $10 million in volume total. And we only be launched like this year, which in my opinion is really good. But like, if let's say like at some point there's gonna be like a FOMO hours section on MYRIAD, which is gonna be like Farouk, Mando, and Tyler's, predictions. I'm curious how many people actually convert to that, right? And I don't think it's in a crazy amount of people, right? Like, we're gonna run some tests and you guys will see like over next month. Like, we're gonna work with a lot of creators, individuals, etc. Hopefully we can do some stuff with you, John, actually. But like, it's like, I'm curious to see how many, like, Onsem could tweet about a meme coin, right? And send it to 100 mil. He's done this 10 times over, right? But can Onsem tweet about a market and even get $1 million volume on it? Even get $100,000 volume on it? I'm really curious about that, guys.
It's an interesting question. How do we find out? How do we bet on this?
How do we bet? Yeah, market about the market.
We need the meta market on Ansem.
We need a prediction market on the prediction market, and then a purple on that.
But I'm curious, like, I'm just curious how, because that's going to be the aha moment. That's going to be the big moment for that, right? Like, I want to, like, I'm just so curious about how this is going to move, because it's funny. People love to have an opinion, but they don't put it on chain, right? Like, you'll have the biggest bears say like, yo, ETH is going to 3,400. Well, we got a market for it saying ETH 3,500 before 5K, but they're never going to take that. And I think that a lot of it has to do with ego. Like, I genuinely believe, because creators, usually like there's a lot of ego involved, blah, blah. Us not as much, but a lot of people have this like clout in their head that they want to make a call, but a tweet can be deleted. But an on-chain prediction can't be removed from the blockchain. So I think the reputation part of it is what stops people.
I wonder if this is like a muscle memory thing. So like, I'm at the point in my life where I can't really watch a sporting event unless I bet on it. At least some amount, right? I don't think we're there yet for prediction markets in world events. Think how much better those debates were with like the mention markets, right? So like we're getting closer to that. The dildo bets really made the WNBA games a lot more interesting. That is a fact. The incentives make sense for creators, right? So like, I get X% of fees from my market. So then it's on me to drive action to it. It's just a matter of who's going to actually lean in. Are the markets good enough? Are there enough people who want to bet on it?
Yeah, I guess we'll see where that takes us. I just saw the time. This is like, I could talk about prediction markets for the next few hours actually. But I just saw the time and we're on the hour. John, any I mean, I do want to play a little prediction game with you, so just hang tight. 5 minutes. We'll go through some predictions on MYRIAD if you're down and see what you got. So far, our guests have only made us money, so I love that. But do you have like any last things, like for someone who's trying to get into prediction markets? Like, I see a lot of people in your comments like, oh, where do I start? It's like, dude, like, we've been screaming about MYRIAD for like fucking months now. But like, feel free, like, chill out the prediction markets, whatever. Like, we don't really care. Like, where does someone start if they want to get more deeper into the rabbit hole?
Yeah, I think if you want to be an influencer, the prediction market class of influencers is kind of just starting. There's like, the most famous guy is probably Doma. He only has 18K followers. And there are like a few other guys like 3,000, 500,000 followers. So it's such a small community, and I think it's kind of going to be like the next big wave for like influencers, and we're going to see prediction market influencers that talk about predictions and stuff that kind of bigger than meme coins and perps, in my opinion. So get involved in these communities. Like, I can send like, I'll send a list or tweet a list of like cool prediction markets people to follow like over the coming days. I think in terms of like getting more involved from like a trading or using standpoint, I think like if you're a US person, Kalshi's like really smooth experience. You can kind of see like a lot of the, especially if you're into sports, like you can see all of the markets there, or even you have Robinhood, you can download that and play around with it there. So that's like kind of the way I got started to use prediction markets. And what Tyler said, I thought was really funny, by the way. I think the future generations that cooked, like, we're gonna be looking at anything with like a Subway Surfers on one side and then like prediction market on the other side.
Dude,
Intent
I'm
return
cooked
gonna be
down the
zero.
same. Oh, that's so good. I'm the same, Tyler, by the way. Don't worry. You're not alone. You're not alone. I watch sports. I have to have, even if it's $500, like I just gotta have something on the line. Maybe it's to make it worth the time. So I love that. Yeah, I would love that list. I was gonna start a list. Also, I was thinking about it last night, but you know what? I'll let you do the work and I'll just follow your list. And I'll send you some names if I see some as well, John. Tyler, you had a question for John. In the meantime, I'm gonna pull up MYRIAD and let's ask him some.
Yeah, just a quick fun question. I'm curious, like, are there any specific markets that you like any bets out there that are live right now that you have
on
action
any
on?
prediction market? Yeah,
or
Paulie,
any,
Kalshi.
or any niches that you kind of focus in?
Yeah, let's see. I think like some of the pre-market prediction markets are pretty interesting to me, just as someone who like wants to get exposure to something. I think I have like some level of edge when it comes to like crypto protocols like before they launch. So for example, like if for like the Pump ICO, I feel like I kind of had like a pretty clear idea that it would fill very quickly. So if there was like some prediction market on how long it would take to fill or stuff like that, I think I would have made the right guess. Some people were saying like hours or days, but I was like, no, this is definitely filling within like minutes. And I think I love playing mentions markets as well, kind of similar to what you said, like watching something. I was watching different Trump speeches and kind of running like some research on what he said in the past in these similar types of speeches, and low-key kind of hit like the right mentions for some, but then also lost a lot of money on some other things that he didn't mention. So netted out only like 5% positive on like a lot of size. But yeah, I think these markets are very interesting to me. Hopefully, like we get pre-IPO markets as well, because I've been tweeting a lot about
That would be really interesting. And I think you nailed it. If you're patient in that game, in the prediction market game, like you can just wait. And there are the bets that are just free money, like the Pump ICO filling in the first hour, right? Like that, there's just money laying on the ground.
Yeah, we give a lot of money away in our markets, and that's the thing. Also, like there's free money in like the up and coming markets. The only problem is there's not a lot of liquidity, and that's obviously like feedback I get a lot about MYRIAD. It's like, yo, like please, like Farmer, actually D Farmer was tweeting the other day, it's like, brother, like you need more liquidity on your markets, because I'm trying to like swing more than like more than $200, $300, $400, $500. So as soon as you solve that, which we're solving for in the coming weeks, I think it's gonna get more interesting. So I agree. I love those pre-IPO, and I think there's a lot of money to make in markets, especially for how people are like, oh, if your meme coins pivot to perps, that was like the trend. Remember, like it's not long ago, and people got absolutely rinsed in perps, especially in this like chop. It's like it's just such a bad move. And so I think like having prediction markets, a lot of people are better off probably either holding coins or just playing the prediction market or just going on ETH and play lamb chop. Speaking of which, the code today is MYRIAD, MYRIAD. MYRIAD is the code. We're gonna pick a winner in a second. Quickly, John, 2 more minutes, 1 more minute. Let's play a little prediction game. Let's see what you got. Fuck, these markets are now like it's tough, right, Tyler? Like these became yesterday. I think the ones on abstract, they've been swinging like crazy. Let's see. Hold on. Which ones should we pick for John here? Let's see.
The Gemini one could be good for John.
Which one?
The Gemini. There's a Gemini IPO market.
Gemini IPO market. All right, there you go. It's not a bad market. I ran out of cash on abstract, but it's okay. We can give the alpha for other people to take the market, the prediction. So John, will Gemini announce its IPO launch date by the end of Q3? Yes or no?
Yeah, so that spike there like yesterday or a few days ago, that was like from them filing their S1, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, I remember seeing the announcement of that, because they were kind of negative profit. I will lean on the side of yes here. I just think that we're in a bull market. They want to like not launch at the Pico top. They want to launch early. And yeah, they're kind of like underway. I'm not like an IPO expert yet on like the exact timelines of things, but we got Bullish yesterday, right, or 2 days ago, and
Yeah.
We're kicking in. So IPOs are back. Let's see, Gemma and I go yes.
I like the yes side on that too.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one. Let's see a couple of markets and we'll pick a
Not
winner.
financial advice.
None of this
course.
is FA. What about the price of eggs, John? We talked about this at ICOBs yesterday. The United States price of a dozen eggs above 350 in August. Yes or no? And the yes is winning right now. You're not an eggs expert?
Yeah, this is the market of where I have the most edge, bro. Like I know every chicken in the United States.
So funny.
Let's go with no. Let's be contrarian here.
All right.
We'll try to
That's
make you
not bad.
more than a 2x.
There you go. Yeah, it is 110% trade here if the no hits. Maybe something a little little simpler. Oh, I like this, dude. I kind of like this one because Bitcoin's bouncing 114K. What are we in 2 days? Bitcoin price above 116 on August 22nd, 2025 by the close. Ooh, I'm curious about everybody's thoughts on that one. Dude, this is like 3 days.
It's
I
interesting.
think we should just go with yes, because if you're a bear, you don't make money.
I love that.
1 on a 2% move is pretty nice. Right?
Mm-hmm. Man, what do you think of this market? Dude, 2 days? 2.5 days? About 2.5 days left of this market?
I like this one.
2.5 to 1? 2% move? Are you muted?
I think this is going to be tough. I think we can go above 115, but I don't think we're going to be there.
Yeah, it's a tough market.
I feel like we're about to bounce. So I had a little bit of a, I said we'd go to like 112, 113, and 4,000, 4,100. We kind of done that. We bounced. I reckon we could have another retest of the lows here. Just feels shaky out there, doesn't it? Like
I know.
people a little bit worried about stuff, and that kind of says a lot.
You're betting on a good outcome at Jackson Hole on Friday, basically.
Yes.
And you're getting 4 to 1.
Yeah, essentially. That's what you're betting on. All right, well, look, this has been fun. John, thank you so much for coming on the show today and talking prediction markets. Definitely want to stay connected, and hopefully we have you more when the time comes. Appreciate you.
Thank you guys for having me on. This was a blast.
All right, man. See ya. Have a good one. All right. Well, this was fun. Little Fed market talk. We talk a lot about prediction markets like MYRIAD, but we don't really get into them. So y'all should start getting bullish. All right, let's pick a winner. The code was MYRIAD. We'll do a Plinko. Mando, good luck today in 50 minutes, right? You're hosting REKT Radio with KBM. Boy, he's been on a tear on the timeline.
What's he been doing?
I don't know. You should see his timeline. He's like bear posting left and right, saying goodbye markets. It's over. So you're gonna have a good one today. It's in 50 minutes, right? Yeah, it is.
Sounds like KBM.
Said ETH is going 3,400. Jeez. All right. OX dystopy girl. Oh, let's go. Got a female winner. Love that. OX dystopy girl. If you're in the chat, you don't have to be in the chat. Don't worry. For today, because you probably are here, but we're gonna Plinko this. We're gonna do 5 balls of 100. How's that, guys? Oh, Mando, by the way, we had the dirtiest lamb chop on Monday. Like, it was not even funny. The guy was like to the tracks, both times lost on the first square on easy mode.
Wow.
It was dirty. Yeah. It was not nice. So we do auto bet 16 rows, 5 bets of 100 each. Let me take a screenshot of our balance here and send it to FOMO chat. All right.
Do we
Well,
want slow
OXG Stoppy
speed?
girl.
Should
Slow
we
speed.
change the
Let's make
speed?
it slow.
Oh, I was gonna say go a little faster.
And let's come on. All right, you guys see the full screen, right?
Yeah.
Let's go. Auto bets 5x. Volatility high. Okay. Boom. All right, let's go. Come on. Let's rinse Mando today.
Let's go
Come
left.
on. Come on. To the left, or to the right, but not there.
Let's
Not
shoot in the
there.
middle.
Not there.
Oh no. Left.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh no.
Sound horrendous.
That was
Mando
that was
wins again.
horrific, dude.
We might have to,
Mando
we
wins
might have to
again.
retire from Blanco.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh, what's going on, man? It's okay. I guess we still just gave away $600 on the show, so you
Yeah.
obviously love to see that. We have 3 more winners for the week. 1 tomorrow, 2 Friday. One of which is going to be a subscriber. So that was a great show, lads. And with that, we'll see y'all tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the episode of FOMO Hour on Rock Radio. Let's go.